Mastering Public Disrespect, the Stoic Way to Rise Above Insults. There are moments in life that define who we are, moments where we are not given the luxury of privacy. Imagine you are standing in a crowded room, or walking down the street, or sitting at a table among colleagues, when suddenly someone decides to take aim at you. Their words are sharp, calculated, not just to criticize, but to humiliate. People turn their heads. The air changes. You feel that familiar rush of heat in your chest, the instinct to fight back, to prove that you will not be stepped on. In a fraction of a second, you are faced with a decision that can either elevate you or pull you into a spiral. Will you let their disrespect control your behavior, or will you hold your ground with composure? That single choice can shape how others see you, how you see yourself, and whether you leave that moment with dignity intact or in pieces. Public disrespect is one of the hardest experiences to endure because it strikes not only at our pride but at our sense of belonging. We are social creatures, wired to care about how others perceive us. When someone mocks, insults, or undermines us publicly, the sting is not just from the words but from the fact that witnesses are present. It feels as if our reputation is being torn apart in real time. This is why most people react with anger or with desperate attempts to defend themselves. They feel that if they do not fight back immediately, the insult will stand as truth, that silence will be mistaken for agreement. Yet if we step back and look closely, we see that reacting emotionally often gives the other person exactly what they wanted, proof that they can control us. When we lash out, we show that they can get inside our head, disturb our calm, dictate our state of mind. Stoicism offers a radically different approach. The ancient philosophers taught that we do not control what others say or do. We control only our thoughts, our judgments, and our actions. In other words, the insult itself is not what wounds us. It is our interpretation of it, our decision to see it as an attack we must avenge. When we understand this, we realize we are not powerless at all. We can choose to let the words pass through us without reaction. We can refuse to be dragged into the emotional chaos the offender is trying to create. In fact, this refusal is not weakness, it is power. To remain calm, to keep one's dignity when provoked, is to show that no one outside of you can command your inner world. This is easier said than done. I have been in situations where my blood boiled, where my tongue felt like it might betray me with words I would later regret. In those moments, I have learned that the first step is not to do nothing but to pause. Just a pause, a breath, a count of 3, a moment to step back inside myself. That pause is the doorway to freedom. It gives me a chance to ask, what response would align with the person I want to be? Instead of reacting like a puppet whose strings were pulled, I can respond deliberately. Sometimes that response is calm words, sometimes it is a quiet smile, and often it is silence. Silence is one of the most underrated responses to public disrespect. Most people expect you to retaliate. When you don't, it unsettles them. A silent, composed person can be more intimidating than a shouting one because no one can predict what they are thinking. Silence communicates that you are not at their mercy, but this silence must not be the silence of fear. It must be the silence of strength, of someone who is confident enough not to need to prove themselves to the crowd. I have seen situations where a single calm look spoke louder than any verbal comeback could have. The aggressor, expecting a fight, suddenly felt foolish, exposed, even guilty. Carrying yourself with dignity in public means more than simply staying quiet. It means mastering your body language, your tone, your posture. If someone mocks you, straighten your shoulders. Meet their eyes without hostility, but without shrinking. If they raise their voice, lower yours, but speak with clarity if you choose to speak at all. If they insult you, breathe slowly as if nothing they said is urgent enough to shake your peace. Over time, this practice trains your mind and body to remain steady under pressure, like a flame that does not flicker in the wind. Of course, there will be times when disrespect cuts deeply. Sometimes it is not a stranger's insult, but a friend's betrayal or a colleague's public criticism that wounds us most. In those cases, silence might not be enough. We may need to address the behavior later, privately and respectfully, to set boundaries. Stoicism does not mean passivity or allowing ourselves to be treated poorly over and over. It means responding from reason rather than reactivity. You can tell someone calmly that their words were hurtful and that you expect better treatment going forward. But this conversation should happen when you are calm, not in the heat of the moment when you are most likely to say something you cannot take back. There is also the question of what to do with the emotions that disrespect stirs in us. We cannot simply pretend that the hurt never happened. To do so would be to push it down, where it may turn into bitterness or resentment. Instead, we can use those emotions as fuel for growth. When someone disrespects me, I take time later to reflect. What did this incident reveal about me? Did it expose a weakness, a fear, an insecurity? Did it show me an area where I still crave approval too much? These reflections help me grow stronger. Sometimes disrespect is a mirror that shows us what we still need to work on. It is also helpful to consider why the other person acted as they did. Many times, disrespect comes from fear, insecurity, or pain within the offender. Understanding this does not excuse their behavior, but it can prevent us from taking it too personally. If someone insults you because they feel threatened by you, then their insult is actually a backhanded acknowledgement of your strength. Realizing this can transform humiliation into motivation. You can let their words remind you of the path you are on, the person you are becoming, and redouble your efforts to rise above. Forgiveness plays a crucial role here. To forgive is not to say that what happened was acceptable. It is simply to refuse to carry the burden of anger any longer. Holding on to resentment keeps the offender in your mind, giving them power even after the event is over. When you forgive, you release yourself from that power. You become free, but forgiveness should not make you naive. You remember what happened so that you can protect yourself in the future. If someone shows you that they are willing to humiliate you once, you take note and adjust your boundaries accordingly. The real test of character is not how we behave when everyone respects us, but how we behave when they do not. Anyone can smile when praised. The person who can stay composed when mocked, who can stay gentle when attacked, is the one who has truly mastered themselves. This does not mean they feel no pain. It means they choose not to let the pain dictate their behavior. They walk through the fire without letting it consume them, and they emerge stronger. There is a temptation, of course, to seek revenge, to craft the perfect comeback, to humiliate the person back in front of everyone, to reclaim our pride by making them look small. And sometimes a sharp but measured response can be appropriate. But most of the time, revenge keeps us tied to the offender. It keeps us in the same cycle of pettiness. The most powerful form of revenge is to become everything they said we could never be, to succeed, to grow, to rise so far above their insults that their words look absurd in hindsight. This is not about proving them wrong for their sake. It is about living fully for our own sake. In practical terms, handling public disrespect with stoic resolve requires preparation. It is hard to stay calm in the moment if you have not trained yourself beforehand. Daily practices can help: meditation, journaling, rehearsing difficult scenarios in your mind. Visualize someone insulting you and imagine yourself staying calm, breathing deeply, smiling slightly. The brain does not entirely distinguish between imagined and real practice, so these mental rehearsals make you more likely to stay composed when the real thing happens. When the moment of disrespect does occur, the first thing is to pause. Take a breath. Slow the rush of adrenaline. Look at the person, not with hatred, but with clarity. Ask yourself, what outcome do I want? Do you want escalation, chaos, a shouting match? Or do you want to leave this moment with dignity? Once you know your goal, choose the action that serves it. Most of the time, that action will be to stay calm, to say less rather than more, to let your composure speak for itself. After the event, take time to process. Journal about what happened, what you felt, what you learned. If necessary, take steps to address the situation. Report harassment, set boundaries, seek support. But let these steps come from a calm place, not from the heat of rage. The goal is not to erase the fact that disrespect happened, but to transform it into something that strengthens you. Over time, if you practice this approach, you will notice a change. Public insults that once would have ruined your day may roll off you more easily. You will find yourself less reactive, more centered. People may even notice and respect the way you carry yourself. Some may still try to provoke you, but they will find it harder to shake you. Ultimately, mastering public disrespect is not about impressing others. It is about staying loyal to yourself. Your dignity does not depend on whether everyone approves of you. It depends on whether you act according to your values, whether you can look back on your response and feel proud of it. Life will not stop presenting these tests. There will always be someone who mocks, someone who tries to pull you into their storm, but you have the power to choose differently. You can let them waste their breath while you use the moment to grow. You can forgive them, release the bitterness, but keep the lesson. And you can keep walking, stronger, calmer, and wiser than before. So the next time you find yourself in that crowded room or on that street corner and someone decides to take aim at you, remember this: you are not obligated to give them what they want. You are not a puppet. You can pause, breathe, and respond in a way that reflects your highest self. Let your calm be your loudest statement. Let your dignity be your shield, and let your growth be the answer that no insult can take away. Because the ultimate victory is not in defeating them, it is in mastering yourself. And when you master yourself, no one can take that from you.